Hello everyone, and welcome to this first demonstration of this course module dedicated completely to recording. We're going to spend a lot of time here on this first demonstration talking about microphones, mic techniques, mic placement, and just all around how you can use microphones to your advantage to get different sounds on instruments, vocals, etc. to make your music productions more interesting. Let's get started. In regards to our current studio setup, there are two input methods for recording audio. We can use a microphone to record acoustic and amplified instruments or vocals, but we can also use a direct input which would bypass the microphone and bring the audio signal directly into our audio interface. Direct inputs are mainly used for electric instruments such as electric guitar or bass guitar. So before we actually go over some microphone techniques, I really wanted to stress the importance of obtaining well-recorded audio from the very beginning. In order to have a good mix and a great final product, you really have to start out with great recordings. So I want to draw particular attention to the VU meters found here by our audio track, or also up here in the instrument window corresponding with that particular audio track. While you're recording, you want to make sure that your recording levels are as high as possible without clipping or going into the red. So you want to make sure that you're constantly looking at these individual VU meters. You also want to make sure that you occasionally check the mix window and look at the master VU meter to make sure that a collection of your recordings aren't eventually clipping as well. If you need a better visual representation of these VU meters, you have an option to go up to the window in the control bar and show recording meter. And this gives you a nice big visual representation of the VU meter. If I take a look at the audio interface that we're using in our recording studio, you can see that I can very easily switch between audio inputs based on the two channels that I have available to me. And then here on the left hand side are my preamp levels, which I can turn up or down to increase or decrease the recording volume. Then down at the bottom we have volume controls for our main monitor speakers and for our headphones. If we take a look at the back side of the audio interface where all the inputs are, you'll notice that there is a 48 volt phantom power button here for each channel. You have to make sure if you're using a condenser microphone for any of your vocals or your recordings that you flip this switch on because your microphone needs to have this power in order to operate. So why don't we now take a look at a couple of different microphone techniques, both for vocals and for acoustic instruments. In regards to vocals, we really have two options: to either capture an intimate performance that gives you ultimately the most control during the mixing phase, or you can choose to record a more natural sound that includes some more of the ambience of the room you're recording in. I also want to draw special attention to the pop filter, which is this accessory shown here, and what that is doing is preventing some of the plosives that are found in recordings. The pop filter accomplishes this by blocking some of the wind that comes out of a vocalist's mouth while performing. You should also notice that I've placed this microphone at a slight angle just so it's not completely vertical right in front of my mouth, so that way some of the air coming out of my mouth is actually going past the microphone instead of directly into it and causing distortion. Also, I've placed the microphone about 6 to 8 inches away from my mouth to capture the most intimate performance that I can. This is going to allow me a greater deal of flexibility in the mixing phase. So if I want to add my own reverb instead of recording the reverb in the room that I'm recording in, I can do so. Let's take a listen to a short recording of me singing with the microphone in this position. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. Cool. I like how this microphone placement seems to have captured a more intimate vocal performance. Just to compare, let's see how things sound with a different microphone placement. In this example, I've placed the microphone much further away from my mouth just to show you how you can record some of the natural ambiance of the room that you're recording in. Let's take a listen and compare how it sounds with the original. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, Round and round the wheels on the bus go round and round all through the town. Nice. So you can very subtly hear the sound of the reverberations in the room. There's a slight delay or an echo with my voice, and it just gives a different characteristic to the sound. Now, based on the requirements of your recording or the style of music that you've produced, you might prefer to have a more intimate performance that you have control over, or it might work better for you to have that more natural sound. Another technique is to record both versions and mix the two together to find a nice balance. Now let's take a look at some microphone techniques for acoustic guitar. Just like with vocals, the distance of the microphone from the instrument can cause some significant changes. So again, I began with a close placement about 3 to 5 inches away from the hole in the guitar, and I decided to remove the pop filter just because I'm not actually concerned about any wind noise on the microphone. Let's take a listen to how this close mic placement sounds. Another common microphone placement for acoustic guitar is more like 12 to 18 inches away from the guitar and directly in line with the 12th fret on the neck of the guitar. This is going to reduce the bassiness sound of the guitar, and like with the distant mic placement on vocals, is going to give you a little bit more of that natural reverberation sound of the recording studio you're recording in. Let's take a listen. If you desire the most control out of a recorded audio signal, you're going to want to use an electric instrument and a direct input. This gives you the most flexibility and ability to manipulate the audio signal in your digital audio workstation. So on the audio interface, I've selected the guitar input and plugged my electric guitar directly into the audio interface, and let's hear how that sounds. Cool. So for this process, microphones are not necessary at all. Placement of the instrument doesn't matter. It's really all about setting the levels of your preamp on the audio interface and recording your audio with great levels. Thanks so much for joining me in this first demonstration of the recording course module. Hopefully at this time you have a better understanding of some microphone techniques that can help you achieve the sounds that you want for your music productions, and also understand how important it is to get a high quality recording right off the bat because it affects everything in the mixing and mastering phases as well. As always, have fun recording. See you next time.